All right, so this month basically I kind of worked a little bit more on getting down kind of fabric a little bit more. So I've got some real quick sketches that I did, and I did some a little bit more of a color study painting that I did, and that's in another video. But the big thing about this is to kind of develop your assets. And in this particular one, what I'm doing is I'm really looking at big shapes, and defining the overall gestural wrinkles and things like that. I'm pushing in more of that development of, how to build in something simple with, not a super amount of detail, but like more realistic detail. And so as I'm doing this, I'm going through and like doing it different ways. One was a full method of just drawing what I see. In this particular one, I'm using much more of just a rough skeleton and kind of blending out the bigger shapes on top of the skeleton. And one of the things that I noticed about a lot of the wrinkles is generally the wrinkles in real life, they don't have a ton of them. There's usually two or three, and they're not always the same kind of equidistance apart from each other. And so one of the things I'm working on is just kind of building up and looking at the different references of the wrinkles and kind of process that each particular stock image I'm using has. And so as I just developed the idea, looking at the reference, and reference, you can't get rid of it. It's something that's always, I think you always need reference. But by practicing this type of thing, you can quickly understand kind of that basic idea. And I don't know, I just got bored. Turn this guy into a centaur or cyclops real quick. So the next thing is, I'm just cleaning up a little bit, and I realized I was getting too much detail. Again, starting out with a really simple gesture skeleton, and then I'm just kind of blocking out the overall shape of the character here, kind of resizing things a little bit back and forth. And this is just a sketch, so I don't have to be perfect on anything. But I'm getting just kind of that rough idea, and then refining a little bit more of the basic idea of what I'm trying to go for. Now, with the wrinkles and things like that, I noticed that a lot of it is, a lot of the wrinkles are used to basically show the form, and I think that is something that you really want to pay attention to with clothes. And also note that clothes are laid over the character, not kind of part of the character. And I think that is just something very simple, very easy, that we kind of overlook sometimes. And I think that is something that we want to work with. And roughing out the the base form, I think, really helps you define the clothing aspect of the particular character. With this character, with this person, it's draped, and so you've got a lot of hanging wrinkles and things like that, and tension points, like in the knee and in the shoulder and things like that. So just drawing simple aspect of that is something that works out really well. So, and here again, I'm just blocking out the form. Same concept. I'm just using different colors at this point in time, and with the base form in there, I have a really good aspect of where I need to kind of create these the wrinkles and things like that. And so I think putting in that base form is just kind of that necessary evil. I run into uh, I run into the issue of having, you know, basically like um, tension divisions and things like that. And sometimes, like, I don't know, I spend a little time drawing the little bits and pieces, like the hands and things like that, and that really kind of helps out, really kind of pushes that aspect. Again, another one here, I just draw the form and kind of sketch it out and kind of make note of how the fabric falls, and as you can see, I'm just kind of piecing together, you know, where the wrinkles are and using that as reference. I also find that when you're doing clothing and things like that, when you're doing that base idea, like, I don't think I could actually draw this from my head and make it look as real as the sketch is. And I think the main reason of that is because I just haven't drawn enough of it. And so, doing these individual sketches, doing these, individual pieces, I think it really kind of helped me out and kind of helped me kind of define what I was working with on this particular, for this particular study. And I think that's something that I don't do enough of. I used to draw like consistently every day, and now with my job, it's really kind of hard to get in that practice time and sketch things as much as I want. And I tend to go straight to, like, a overall piece or an overall idea, and I don't spend enough time exploring that and putting in and developing the idea. And I think by just doing these real quick gesture sketches, and it really didn't take long. It took like 2 hours. The problem was, like, it took 2 hours, and then it took like an hour to go find all the images, and that I was happy with. And I think that is my major issue when doing this type of thing is I just don't have the time to, it's 3 hours, and if I do it a day, it's 3 hours a day. And I'd rather be working on an illustration or something like that. So I think that is my big issue with not doing enough gesture sketches, is it just feels like it sucks away a lot of the time that I don't have. And so I think that if I'm going to do this, I want to kind of create a library. So I'll spend an hour or two developing a big library, and that way I will um, have an idea of what I'm doing. And I think that's a big process that I want to really work with, is just getting more of that idea of the library down, and that way I can always sit down and have something to draw and have something to sketch, in order to make kind of the best idea of having that character kind of all said and done. And I think that's one of the things that I don't think about much, is all that prep work. And if I do some of the prep work up front, I think that'll slimline um, the process, and allow me to work a little bit more on creating what I need to do to get better as an artist. And that's pretty much the basis of this was to get me to practicing a little bit more sketching, a little bit more character, and I think that was something that I think this was a good exercise. And even the 2 or 3 hours that I spent painting the other video worked out well. So I think just doing something like this really kind of and pushes me to kind of look at things a little bit differently. And I think these focus ideas are a good idea to keep working on.